Is locked onto Torres with an unsettling calm. No tears, no anger, just a quiet intensity that made the air grow thick. "I need to see the mayor," she said, voice steady as stone. Torres laughed, a harsh bark that bounced off the walls. "The mayor doesn't meet with trash off the street." "Security!" Two guards stepped forward, hands moving to their batons. Sarah
Officer
didn't
Torres,
flinch. She reached
I
into her
am your
jacket
new chief
pocket
of
with
police.
deliberate slowness. "Officer Torres, I am your new police chief." The words hung in the air like a blade. Above them, a security camera's red light blinked steadily, recording everything. What would happen when Torres realized the truth? And why was Sarah so eerily calm after being assaulted? Torres' laughter cracked like breaking glass. "Police chief? You?" His belly shook as he doubled over, slapping his knee. Other officers joined in, their mockery filling the lobby. Only Officer Amy Parker stood frozen by the water fountain, her Asian features pale with shock. "Look at this monkey!" Torres wheezed, tears streaming down his red face. "Thinks she can waltz in here with fake papers!" Sarah pulled out an official document, the city seal gleaming gold. "My appointment letter, signed yesterday by Mayor Richardson." Torres snatched it from her hands. His bloodshot eyes scanned the page, lips moving as he read. Then his face darkened like a storm cloud. Bullshit. He tore the paper in half, then quarters, then eighths. The pieces fluttered to the floor like dead butterflies. "Nice try with the forgery." Amy Parker's hand trembled as she raised her phone, quietly recording. Her thumb shook on the screen. Sarah's voice remained level. "That was an official document. You just committed a federal offense." "Federal offense?" Torres stepped closer, his coffee breath hot on her face. "You know what's an offense? A lying piece of ghetto trash disrespecting real cops." The duty roster lay open on Torres's desk, showing strange gaps in the schedule. Shifts that didn't match, times that didn't add up. "Johnson, Martinez!" Torres barked at the security guards. "Drag this bitch out. If she resists, use force." The guards hesitated. Something in Sarah's stillness made them pause. "Move your asses!" Torres roared. Heavy footsteps echoed from the stairwell. Deliberate, measured, the sound of expensive shoes on worn linoleum. Mayor Richardson appeared at the top of the stairs. His silver hair caught the harsh fluorescence as he descended. Behind him, two city councilmen followed like shadows. The laughter died. Officers straightened their uniforms. Torres's face drained of color, leaving only blotchy red patches. "Mayor Richardson," Torres stammered. "Sir, this woman was causing a disturbance. Claims to be Chief Sarah Johnson." The mayor's voice cut through the air. "I see you've already met some of your staff." The lobby became a tomb. 20 officers stood like statues. Amy Parker's phone captured every second. Torres's knees wobbled. Sweat beaded on his forehead, running down his temples in tiny rivers. "Sir, She didn't... Nobody told me." "Apparently not." The mayor's eyes were winter cold. "Chief Johnson, I apologize for this reception." Sarah finally moved, brushing paper fragments from her jacket. "No need, Mayor Richardson." This has been quite educational. Her calm terrified Torres more than any rage could have. "Educational?" His voice cracked like a teenager's. "Yes." Sarah's eyes swept the room, memorizing faces. "I've learned exactly what kind of department I'm inheriting." The security camera above blinked steadily. The duty roster pages fluttered in the air conditioning. Torres' world began to crumble, 1 second at a time. What had Sarah discovered in those few minutes? And why did Hayes from Internal Affairs suddenly appear at the balcony, his face ghost white? The real investigation hadn't even begun. Mayor Richardson's words echoed like a judge's gavel. "This is Police Chief Sarah Johnson, your new commanding officer." Torres's legs gave out. His knees cracked against the hard floor. The sound made everyone flinch. "No, no, no, no." He crawled forward on his hands and knees. "Chief Johnson, I'm sorry. I didn't know." Tears mixed with snot as he grabbed for her shoes. Sarah stepped back, her face carved from stone. "Please," Torres sobbed. "I have a family. Kids. Please don't fire me. Stand up. Sarah's voice could have frozen hell. You're embarrassing yourself. But Torres couldn't stand. His body shook like a beaten dog. 20 years of arrogance crumbled in 20 seconds. I want to see the security footage, Sarah said. Now. Amy Parker moved to the computer, fingers flying over keys. The monitor flickered to life. Multiple camera angles filled the screen. Go back 1 week, Sarah ordered. The footage rewound. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Each day showed the same pattern. A black woman approaching the desk. Torres screaming. Security dragging her out. An elderly black man with a cane. Torres shoving him. The man falling. A black teenager asking about his arrested father. Torres throwing him against the wall. 5 incidents. 5 victims. All black. All treated like animals. The lobby filled with gasps. Officers who'd laughed minutes ago now backed away from Torres like he was diseased. Jesus Christ, someone whispered. Amy Parker's face had gone green. Every single one was from the Market District. Everyone. Sarah's eyes never left the screen. Pull up the duty roster. More keystrokes. The schedule appeared. Gaps everywhere. Ghost shifts. Torres's name appearing when he wasn't supposed to work. You've been hunting, Sarah said quietly. Haven't you? Torres rocked on his knees, mumbling prayers. Footsteps pounded down the stairs. Robert Hayes burst into the lobby, his internal affairs badge swinging. Sweat stained his white shirt in spreading circles. Chief Johnson! He tried to smile, but his lips trembled. Perhaps we should discuss this privately. In my office. Away from all these cameras. His eyes darted to the security monitors, to Amy's phone, to the witnesses. Calculating. Desperate. Sarah turned slowly. Director Hayes. How interesting that you're here. I heard there was a misunderstanding. Hayes tugged at his collar. These things happen. First days are always rough. Misunderstanding? Sarah pointed at Torres. Is that what we're calling assault now? Hayes moved closer, lowering his voice. Chief, you don't understand how things work here. There are arrangements, understandings, 20 years of... 20 years of what, exactly? The question hung in the air like a noose. Hayes's Adam's apple bobbed. Nothing. I meant nothing. But his eyes betrayed him. They flicked to Torres, to the duty roster, to the exit. The eyes of a man whose secrets were about to spill like blood. Sarah smiled for the first time. It was not a kind smile. Director Hayes, I'm declaring a full departmental lockdown, effective immediately. No one leaves until I get answers. The camera above them blinked, recording everything, missing nothing. What would 48 hours of investigation reveal? And why was Hayes's phone buzzing non-stop with panicked messages? Lock it down! Sarah's voice cut through the chaos. Every door, every window. Nobody leaves. Officers scrambled to comply. The heavy clank of bolts echoed through the station. Torres remained on his knees, a broken puppet with cut strings. 48 hours, Sarah announced. That's what we have. A full investigation. Every file, every record, every dirty secret in this building. Hayes's phone buzzed frantically. Text after text lighting up his screen. His fingers twitched toward it. Problem with your phone, Director? Sarah asked. No, Chief. Just family. Then they can wait. She turned to Amy. Officer Parker, bring me the duty rosters. All of them. 6 months back. Amy hesitated. Fear flickered in her eyes. But something else, too. Hope, maybe. She nodded and hurried to the records room. Sarah walked to Torres's desk. The duty roster lay open, ink still fresh on today's entries. She ran her finger down the columns. Interesting. She held up the book. You worked 16 shifts last week, but you were only scheduled for 5. Torres' phone vibrated against the floor where it had fallen. Message after message flooding the screen. Ghost shifts, Sarah continued. Let me guess. Clock in when the market opens. Clock out when it closes. Am I warm? Hayes stepped forward. Chief Johnson, these are serious accusations. Without proper evidence. Evidence? Sarah smiled that cold smile again. Director Hayes, in my experience, men who run clean departments don't sweat through their shirts at 8 a.m. The stain on Hayes' shirt had spread to his jacket. Dark circles bloomed under his arms. Amy returned with an armload of rosters. Her hands shook as she set them down. "Chief, there's something else. Something I need to—" "Not here," Hayes cut in sharply. "Officer Parker, remember your position." But Amy's dam had broken. "I've seen things, recorded things. Torres taking envelopes. Hayes signing off on reports that didn't make sense." The room temperature seemed to drop 10 degrees. "You little bitch!" Torres snarled from the floor. "Officer Parker," Sarah said gently, "do you have proof?" Amy nodded, pulling out her phone. "Videos, photos, 2 years' worth. I was scared to report it because internal affairs was compromised," Sarah finished. Hayes's face had gone from white to gray. "This is a witch hunt. 20 years I've served this department. 20 years of what?" Sarah pressed. "Finish the sentence." But Hayes clamped his mouth shut. His phone buzzed again and again, like angry wasps trapped in his pocket. Sarah addressed the room. "IT department, I want every camera file from the last 6 months. Financial, I want every overtime report. And someone get me a pot of coffee. It's going to be a long 48 hours. Officers moved with new purpose. The spell of the old regime was breaking. "You're destroying everything," Hayes whispered. "You don't know what you're doing." "I know exactly what I'm doing," Sarah replied. "I'm turning on the lights, and we're going to see what's been hiding in the dark." Torres' phone buzzed one last time. A message flashed on the screen before going dark. "Get out now. They know." Who were they? And what exactly did they know? The IT room became Sarah's command center. 6 hours into the lockdown, she sat surrounded by glowing monitors while Marcus, the IT specialist, pulled up footage from 6 months ago. "Chief, look at this pattern." His voice cracked with disbelief. "It's the same thing over and over." The screen showed a black woman approaching Torres's desk. Without warning, Torres jumped up, screaming. The woman fled in terror. Next clip, a black man with groceries. Torres grabbed his baton. The man ran. "Every single incident," Marcus whispered, "happens between 8 a.m. and noon." Sarah leaned forward. "Pull up the market schedule." The correlation was perfect. Every attack matched a market day. Torres had been hunting vendors like prey. "He knew they couldn't fight back," Amy said from the doorway. She'd been standing there for an hour, gathering courage. "They need their permits, can't afford lawyers." 12 hours in, Amy finally broke her silence completely. She pulled out her phone with trembling hands. "2 years ago I saw this." The video was grainy but clear. Torres taking a thick envelope from a terrified vendor. Cash visible as he counted it. And there, on the stairs, Hayes watching like a satisfied snake. "Why didn't you report it?" Sarah asked gently. Amy's laugh was bitter. "Report it to Internal Affairs?" Hayes IS Internal Affairs. She showed more videos, dozens of envelopes, a systematic pattern of extortion filmed over 2 years. Amy had documented everything, waiting for someone who would listen. The second morning arrived with bolt cutters. Sarah stood before Torres's locker, while officers gathered to witness. "Open it," she ordered. The lock snapped like a breaking bone. Inside, beneath spare uniforms and deodorant, lay a leather journal. Torres' meticulous record-keeping would be his downfall. Sarah read aloud. "Chen's Grocery, $500 monthly. Martinez Produce, $300. Washington's Fish, $600. Pages and pages of names. Hundreds of victims. Thousands of dollars." But the worst part made everyone gasp. "Every entry has 2 signatures." Sarah held up a page. "Torres and Hayes. 50-50 split." Amy calculated quickly. That's over $30,000 a month, just from the market vendors. By the afternoon of day 2, the accounting software revealed an even darker truth. Marcus had been digging through financial records non-stop. "Chief, it's not just extortion." His screen showed a maze of transactions. "Look at these ghost shifts. Officers paid for work they never did. Over time, that never happened." The numbers made Sarah's stomach turn. $10 million over 5 years. A massive theft hidden in plain sight. Through his office window, they could see Hayes at his computer. He'd been there for 20 hours straight, clicking frantically, deleting file after file. Sweat had soaked through his shirt and jacket. "He's destroying evidence," Amy observed. Sarah smiled coldly. Marcus, please tell me you have backups. 3 servers worth. He can delete until his fingers bleed. We have everything. The second night brought unexpected allies. Officers who'd been silent for years began talking. The conference room filled with testimonies. You paid in or you suffered, one veteran cop explained. Night shifts forever. No backup when you needed it. No promotions. What about Officer Martinez? Another added. Remember his accident? No backup for 30 minutes. He almost died. Sarah mapped the corruption on the wall. 10 officers, 5 administrators, 2 city councilmen. The web spread like cancer through the department. Dawn of the third day brought the final piece. William, the janitor who'd cleaned these offices for 15 years, knocked on Sarah's door. I see things, he said simply. I hear things, and I save things. He handed Sarah a flash drive. Security footage they thought was deleted, but I keep everything. Never know when truth might be needed. The footage was explosive. Hayes' meeting with city officials Sarah recognized. Envelopes thick with cash, conversations about keeping the market district in line. They called it the program, William explained. Started in 2005. Keep black vendors scared, keep money flowing like a machine. 20 years of systematic racism, 20 years of theft, all documented, all preserved by a janitor everyone ignored. We have them all, Amy breathed. But through his window, Hayes was on his phone again. Sarah could read his lips clearly. Code red. Burn it all. His face had the desperate look of a cornered animal. Whatever code red meant, it was his last card to play. Marcus suddenly sat bolt upright at his computer. His exhausted eyes went wide. Chief! That camera in the lobby. He pointed at the screen showing the security feed. It's not one of our old models. Sarah moved closer. The camera from the first morning, the one that caught Torres slapping her, looked different from the others. Maintenance installed it last month. Marcus continued, fingers flying across the keyboard. It's the new model. High definition. And he grinned like he'd found gold. It has audio recording. Torres didn't know. The room went electric. Amy grabbed Sarah's arm. Even the tired officers perked up. Can you extract the audio? Sarah asked, though she already knew the answer from Marcus's expression. Already on it. His screen filled with waveforms. The mic is hidden in the housing. Picks up everything within 20 feet. The first audio file made everyone lean in. Hayes' voice, crystal clear from 2 weeks ago. The new chief is some black woman, Hayes said, fresh from the academy. She'll be easy to handle. Torres' laugh was ugly. A diversity hire. Probably can't even read the duty roster. Just keep doing what you're doing, Hayes continued. In fact, increase the fees by 50%. She won't last a month. Sarah's jaw tightened. Amy's hands clenched into fists. Marcus pulled up more files. A conversation from last Tuesday made everyone gasp. That bitch vendor from Chen's grocery tried to complain, Torres said. I set her straight. Good, Hayes replied. Can't have them getting ideas. What about the others? All paid up. Johnson's fish was short, but I convinced him to find the money. How? Hayes asked. Told him his daughter walks to school alone. Amazing how quick people find cash. The room erupted. Officers who'd been loyal to Hayes looked sick. The threat against a child crossed every line. Marcus kept the recordings coming. 20 files, 30. Each one more damning than the last. Here's yesterday, Marcus said, right after the mayor announced the new chief. Hayes' voice was panicked. A black woman? Are you fucking kidding me? Maybe she's dirty too, Torres suggested hopefully. No, I checked. Sarah Johnson is clean, military background, perfect record. We're fucked. So what do we do? Make her first day hell. Break her. If she quits, problem solved. The recording captured everything. Their plans, their fears, their 20-year crime spree discussed like a business meeting. Chief, Marcus said quietly, there's one more file. From an hour ago. Hayes' voice filled the room, talking on his phone. Code red means burn everything. Physical files, hard drives, everything. Meet at the warehouse on 5th. Bring the emergency cash. Who's he talking to? Amy asked. Marcus enhanced the audio. A second voice became audible. Sarah recognized it immediately. City Councilman Richards. 20 years down the drain because of some black bitch, Richards snarled. Should have killed her when we had the chance. The smoking gun had become a nuclear bomb. Not just Torres and Hayes. The corruption reached into City Hall itself. Hayes must have sensed something. Through his office window, they watched him stand up and walk to his door. His hand trembled on the knob. Sarah looked at her team. Exhausted faces hardened with determination. He's going to run, Amy said. No. Sarah picked up the audio recorder. He's going to confess. She walked to Hayes' door as he opened it. His face crumbled when he saw what she held. Director Hayes, Sarah said loudly, would you like to make a statement? Sarah's voice echoed through the intercom. All personnel to the main hall. Mandatory assembly. Now. Officers filed in from every corner of the station. 50 tired faces, some anxious, some defiant. Torres sat handcuffed in the front row, his head hanging. Hayes stood against the wall, trying to look confident. Sarah took the podium. Behind her, a projector screen came to life. 72 hours ago, Officer Torres assaulted me. She touched her cheek where the slap had landed. That assault opened a door to 20 years of corruption. The first slide showed the market vendors. Their faces filled the screen. Chen, Martinez, Washington. Real people with real families. These citizens paid over $10 million in illegal fees. Sarah's voice carried like thunder. Protection money, extortion, organized crime wearing badges. Gasps rippled through the room. Officers who'd suspected something stared at those they'd trusted. The audio played next. Hayes' voice filled the hall. A black woman? She'll be easy to handle. Then Torres told him his daughter walks to school alone. Young officers covered their mouths. Veterans shook their heads. The evidence was undeniable. Officer Michael Torres. Sarah read from an official document. 37 counts of assault, 200 counts of extortion, conspiracy to commit racial violence. This is bullshit, Hayes exploded from the wall. 20 years I've served this department, 20 years of keeping order. You can't just... Director Robert Hayes. Sarah continued as if he hadn't spoken. Corruption, racketeering, theft of public funds, threatening witnesses. Hayes pushed off the wall. You have no authority. This is my department. I built this place. You poisoned this place. Sarah's voice could have cut steel. Officer Parker, arrest them both. Amy stepped forward with handcuffs, but she'd only taken 2 steps when 5 senior officers blocked her path. Sergeant Mills, a 25-year veteran, led them. Nobody's arresting anybody. The hall went silent. Hands moved to weapons. The air crackled with danger. Stand down, Sergeant, Sarah ordered. You stand down. Mills's face was red. You think you can waltz in here and destroy everything? We each lose $500 a month if this system goes down. That's college funds, mortgages, medical bills. The other 4 nodded. Officer Bryant spoke up. My wife has cancer. That extra money pays for treatments insurance won't cover. Dirty money, Sarah said. Easy for you to say, Mills shot back. You don't have 3 kids. You don't have bills that never stop coming. The room split like a broken bone. Half the officers moved behind Mills. The other half stayed seated, uncertain. Sarah stepped from behind the podium, no shield between her and 5 angry cops. I understand you're scared, she said quietly. Change is terrifying. But look at those faces. She pointed at the screen still showing the vendors. Those are the people you swore to protect. They're not my people, Mills snarled. Then you're not my officer. Sarah's voice hardened. Every person standing with Sergeant Mills has 10 seconds to reconsider. After that, you're accessories to federal crimes. Nobody moved. The countdown began in everyone's head. At second 8, Officer Bryant stepped back. My wife wouldn't want this. Not blood money. At second 9, 2 more officers retreated. Mills stood alone with 1 supporter. His face had gone from red to purple. You're destroying good cops' lives. No. A young officer, Jackson, stood up from his seat. They destroyed their own lives when they chose money over honor. More young officers stood, then veterans. Soon 40 officers faced Mills and his lone supporter. Sergeant Mills, Sarah said, you're under arrest for conspiracy. Mills's hand twitched toward his weapon. Every officer tensed. One wrong move would turn the hall into a battlefield. Choose carefully, Sarah warned. Your next decision defines whether you retire or die in prison. Mill's hand froze halfway to his gun. The hall held its breath like a loaded chamber. Then Amy Parker stepped forward from the crowd. Her voice shook but carried clearly. I've been silent too long. Today I stand straight. She held up her phone. 2 years of evidence, videos, photos, every crime I witnessed and was too scared to report. The screen behind Sarah came alive with Amy's footage. Torres taking bribes, Hayes counting money, Mills threatening a vendor. The corruption laid bare by someone they'd ignored. I was afraid, Amy continued, tears streaming. Afraid of losing my job, afraid of being next, but fear made me complicit. Her confession broke the dam. Officer Rodriguez stepped forward. I saw the ghost shifts. Said nothing. Officer Washington joined him. I knew about the beatings. Looked away. One by one, 10 officers confessed their silence. Not participants, but witnesses who'd chosen safety over justice. Mills's last supporter, Officer Craig, suddenly stepped away from him. My kids deserve a better father than this. Mills stood alone, his hand dropping from his weapon. The fight drained from his face like air from a punctured tire. Sergeant Mills, your weapon, Sarah commanded. He unholstered it slowly, placing it on the ground. The click echoed like a coffin closing. Sarah surveyed the room. 40 officers remained, some crying, some stone-faced, all forever changed. This department dies today, she announced. What rises tomorrow depends on all of you. She pulled out a prepared document. Effective immediately, all overtime requires video documentation. All citizen complaints go directly to an independent review board. Body cameras stay on. No exceptions. Hayes laughed bitterly from his handcuffs. You think rules on paper change anything? This system is older than... Which is why we're changing the people, not just the policies. Sarah turned to Amy. Officer Parker, front and center. Amy approached on unsteady legs. Sarah pulled out a badge. I need an assistant director of internal affairs. Someone who's seen the darkness and chose the light. Someone brave enough to record the truth when everyone else looked away. Amy's hands shook as she accepted the badge. Tears ran freely down her face. I don't deserve... You earned this the day you hit record instead of delete. Sarah pinned the badge to Amy's uniform. Your first job? Establish a 24/7 anonymous tip line. In multiple languages. Accessible to everyone. The room erupted in applause. Young officers cheered. Veterans nodded approval. Even some who'd stood with Mills clapped slowly. Furthermore, Sarah continued, monthly community meetings. Mandatory. Every officer will face the people they serve. No hiding behind desks or badges. She walked among the officers as she spoke. Transparency isn't a word. It's a practice. Every arrest, every citation, every interaction goes into a public database. Searchable. Accountable. What about us? A veteran officer asked. The ones who stayed silent? You get one chance. Sarah's eyes swept the room. Full confession, full cooperation. Help us clean house or join your colleagues in custody. 20 hands shot up immediately, officers ready to purge their conscience. Sarah returned to the podium. The badge means service, not supremacy. Protection, not profit. If you can't accept that, leave now. Nobody moved. The old guard was broken. Mills, Torres, and Hayes would face justice. The younger officers would rebuild. Chief, Amy said, her new badge catching the light. What about the vendors? The people Torres terrorized? Sarah smiled for the first time in 3 days. Full restitution. Every penny stolen gets returned, with interest, and formal apologies, in person, from every officer who participated or stayed silent. The weight of change settled over the room. Some faces showed relief, others fear. All understood that the old ways had died with Sarah's arrival. One last thing, Sarah announced. This badge, this uniform, this authority, they're not ours. They belong to the community. We're just borrowing them, and loans can be recalled. She looked directly at the camera still recording. To everyone watching, your police department is under new management. We serve you, all of you, equally. 1 month later, the police station felt different. Sunlight streamed through windows someone had finally cleaned. Officers smiled at civilians. The fear had lifted like morning fog. Mrs. Chen from the grocery stood in the lobby, clutching a box of oranges. Her weathered hands trembled, but not from fear this time. Chief Johnson? She approached Sarah's office tentatively. Old habits died hard. Sarah rose immediately. Mrs. Chen, please come in. The elderly woman set down the oranges. Then, without warning, she grabbed Sarah in a fierce hug. Sarah stiffened, then relaxed, returning the embrace. My daughter, Mrs. Chen whispered. She says she wants to be police officer, like you. Sarah pulled back, eyes misting. Tell her our doors are open to everyone now. She's afraid, says police don't want Chinese girl. Not anymore. Sarah walked to her desk and pulled out a flyer. Youth Cadet Program, starts next week. Bring her personally. Down the hall, Amy Parker led her first internal affairs meeting. 6 young officers sat around the table, notebooks ready. Transparency isn't just policy, Amy explained. It's daily practice. Every complaint gets investigated. Every community concern gets addressed. Officer Jackson raised his hand. What if senior officers push back? Then you call me, day or night. Amy's voice had found strength. The old days of silence are over. The hiring office buzzed with new energy. Sarah had mandated diversity in recruitment. The waiting room showed the results. Black faces, brown faces, Asian faces, young women in hijabs, veterans in wheelchairs. Officer Rodriguez, now heading recruitment, addressed the group. We're not looking for warriors. We're looking for neighbors. People who see a uniform as a chance to help, not hurt. A young black man raised his hand. My cousin got arrested by Torres. Am I disqualified? The opposite. Rodriguez smiled. You understand why change matters. That's exactly who we need. The training room had transformed too. Gone were the aggressive tactics posters. In their place hung community photos. Protect and serve actually meant something now. Sarah walked in during de-escalation training. 20 recruits practiced talking down conflicts instead of escalating them. Force is failure, the instructor explained. Every fight you prevent is a victory. Every person you help is why we're here. Outside, the market district showed the biggest change. Vendors displayed goods without fear. Children played while parents shopped. Officer Washington walked his beat, stopping to buy fruit, to chat, to be human. Officer! A little girl tugged his uniform. My ball went over the fence. He retrieved it with a smile. No power trip, no intimidation, just a neighbor helping a child. Sarah visited the market weekly now, not as enforcement, but as community. She bought vegetables from Mrs. Martinez, fish from Mr. Washington, flowers from the Kim family. Chief, Mr. Washington called out, you need good catfish for weekend? Always. Sarah examined his display. Business good? Better than 20 years. His eyes crinkled. My customer's not afraid anymore. They stay, they talk, they buy. The transformation wasn't complete. Trust built slowly after decades of fear. But green shoots pushed through concrete. Mrs. Chen's daughter did join the cadet program. So did 30 other minority youth. They wore uniforms with pride, not fear. Amy's tip line received dozens of calls daily. Not about major crimes, but community concerns. A broken streetlight, a missing pet, neighbors looking out for neighbors. The old station's walls came down, literally. Sarah ordered the fortress-like barriers removed. Glass replaced concrete. The community could see in. Officers could see out. Change isn't a moment, Sarah told the latest graduating class. It's every day, every interaction, every choice to serve instead of dominate. Behind her stood Amy, Rodriguez, Washington, and Jackson. The future of policing. Officers who'd found courage when it mattered. Sarah stood in the exact spot where Torres had slapped her 3 months ago. The lobby bustled with citizens filing complaints, picking up forms, chatting with officers. No fear, just community. She pulled the chief's badge from her pocket. The gold caught the afternoon light, throwing reflections on the wall where blood had once splattered from Torres's victims. This spot, she said to Amy, who'd joined her, used to be where hope died. Amy nodded. Now it's where justice lives. Sarah pinned the badge to her uniform. The weight felt different now. Not power over others, but responsibility to them. The camera that had recorded everything still blinked overhead. Sarah looked directly at it, knowing her words would reach beyond these walls. 3 months ago, a man hit me because of my skin color. He thought violence was strength. He thought fear was power. She stepped closer to the camera. He was wrong. Her voice carried through the lobby. Officers and civilians stopped to listen. Justice doesn't arrive on its own. It doesn't fall from the sky or rise from the ground. Justice happens when ordinary people do extraordinary things. She held up her phone. See injustice? Record it. Every phone is a weapon against corruption. Amy stepped forward with a flyer. Call our hotline, 1-800-JUST-ICE, 24/7, multiple languages, anonymous if you need. Sarah looked back at the camera. To everyone watching, you are the justice system, not us, not courts, you. She thought of Mrs. Chen's daughter training to be an officer, of vendors selling without fear, of Amy finding her voice. Share this story. Not because it's unique, but because it isn't. This corruption exists in 1,000 cities. This fear lives in 1,000,000 hearts. The lobby had gone quiet. Everyone watched their chief speak truth. But if it can change here, Sarah touched the spot where she'd been slapped, it can change anywhere. All it takes is one person refusing to stay silent. One video, one call, one stand. She smiled, and it transformed her face. The badge doesn't make us special. Courage does. And courage lives in everyone. The camera recorded it all. The truth spreading like light. The future writing itself one brave act at a time. Justice begins with you.